I watched this like a few times last night before I went to bed. I took some notes on it. There is a lot of stuff. First, there's a lot of moves, and you know, in Strive, especially in the beta, you know, I felt like both they took stuff away from people and they weakened stuff. So like no one felt good. You know what I mean? It's especially good. So that's like major point number one. So I think like this is something I've thought about all the characters in the game, but it looks like they've given characters more stuff. I mean, not it looks like, it just seems like they have. She actually looks like she has about the same amount of moves like as before. There's some moves that are gone. There's some moves that are gone outright, but they gave her like a couple of new moves. Like replace some moves. So outside of normals, they don't really show normals. It's just showing special moves. So we don't really know stuff about normals. So the major things they took away is Crumbing Rose, which like okay, you know, it'd be like that. They took away Pin. That's a pretty big one that will think we gotta talk about that because that's all anyone wants to talk about because that's all anyone knows about the character. And they took away Secret Garden. Those are probably the three big ones. I'm not really gonna talk about normals because like it's hard to know. Like there's some stuff that it's like it's clear it's that move, but there's questions of like what move is this comes up a couple of times, and then if it's clear what the move is, then it's not clear if it has like a special property or something. And it's pretty Millia is like for a game that, especially if you're considering like ACR, because you have ACR Exert Strive basically. AC Exert Strive, let's put it like that. So one of the reasons she could hang with all these characters with huge buttons and shit like that is because she has moves with special properties and she's really mobile. So there are a bunch of examples of a move that like at a glance isn't special compared to like you know, Kai does Far Slash, he has a big ass sword, he goes like this. And like Millia's sweep, like okay, it's a sweep, but if you don't know that it like crushes other lows, then it's just a sweep. So there's no way to know about any of these properties because they don't talk about them and they don't even show normals. They're just showing special moves and supers. So I think that's probably the place I just want to get all that stuff out of the way, right? So the way I'm going to do this, because that's the end, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do it the way I did it in my little handy dandy notepad document, right? My handy dandy notepad document. So I'm going to talk about... Well, first I'm going to talk about stuff they took away. Then I'm going to talk about the stuff that I am neutral about. Then I'm going to talk about stuff that I think is bad. And then I'm going to talk about stuff that I think is good. Okay? I think that's the fairest way. Okay? So first, I think we should start with... And let's get it to a fucking screenshot that makes sense. Like, not that. How about something like that? Or like this. Millia out here. Okay. So the elephant in the room for basically everybody. So here's sentence number one. People who don't play Millia generally don't understand Millia because she looks like she's a pretty simple character, but she's not. So usually their strategies against her reflect that. So one of the most basic strategies you learn of how to fight Millia is that if the pin is on the ground, you protect it and you pay attention to it all the time. And the reason why people are so obsessed with it is because Guilty Gear characters are about doing shit, and the pin stops you from doing shit. If someone's good with Millia, they will use it to stop you from doing your degeneracy. They will not generally use it as an approach tool. They will use it to be like, this character has this thing I can't beat by myself, I have to use pin. Or this character has this area that they control really well, so I have to use pin. So people really hate the move because of that. Okay. So they took that away from her. It's a big deal, but I think probably the main reason they did that is because you can break the wall and move. So it would probably be a pretty big issue if you threw the pin, left it somewhere, and then you broke the wall and went to another part of the stage. Like, what would they do? Do they give it back to you automatically? Do they put it in the middle of the screen in between you two? Like, what do they do about that? So rather than doing something about that, they just took the move away. I also have a feeling that that in the context of this game, a move like that might be too good. Might even be better than before. So I think those are probably the two main things they're thinking. In Exert compared to AC. Exert pin is weaker than AC pin. AC pin is like god. ACR pin is like god shit. Like when I was playing ACR, I was like, bro, like what the fuck is this move? Like why is this so fucking good? And Exert, it's really good too. It's just not as good. And now in this game, she doesn't have it. But I overall am not like too stressed out about it though, because I think they've given her tools that sort of make up for it. And like the super classic Exert, like, oh, you need the pin to knock down. That's not a factor in this game, right? Because basically everything knocks down. Okay, that's where we start. Then I would say next would probably be Chroming Rose. That I think it's pretty obvious that why they took that move away, right? I don't think there's an essay or anything about like why they take out a move like that. Like that move is ridiculous. That's the only sense. That move is really ridiculous. I don't know if they want moves like that crazy. When they added that to Exert, people were like, why the fuck does she have this? But not everyone used it, but I was a pretty big fan of using it personally. I thought it was really good. So I miss it because I like using it, but like, okay. And then Garden is like, that's like, it's about time they got rid of that move, because Arxis doesn't like moves like that anymore. Moves like that are pretty degenerate. Like doesn't go away on block or hit, acts independently of you, crazy advantage. And the way they always try to like make it fair is like they're like, oh, it's hard to set up, like you can't just do it. But people, if the move exists, people will always find a way. They will always find a way. So Daisharin, Kokshi, and Blaze Blue are examples of that. Of course, Secret Garden is the Guilty Gear, biggest Guilty Gear example. And in Dragon Ball has this move, which I'm really surprised. I'm actually surprised it's still in the fucking game. The fucking Ghosts. I'm really surprised that Ghosts are in the game, because generally Arxis doesn't. They keep trying to weaken that style of move. So in Exert, as a side note, in Exert, every single version of the game of Exert, they nerf Secret Garden. Every single. That's how good it is. They nerf Secret Garden every fucking version of the game. In AC, they didn't really touch Garden ever. They actually buffed Garden in ACR. They gave her like an EX version that's like way more flexible to use. But starting from Exert, every Exert patch they nerf Secret Garden. Usually they nerf the damage, but then at some point, I think Rev 2. I think Rev 2 flat out. They made Secret Garden slower startup also. Which is, it was still not enough. Like, people still use that move. That's how ridiculous it is. Kind of sucks because those moves feel like very distinct gameplay wise. I mean, Rose's was only Exert. Rose's only Exert, and I actually, like I said before, not a lot of people use Chroming Rose. Like, I think like competitive Millia wise, I might have been one of the only. It's just like me, Nakamura. I don't think Ranger really is a big fan of Rose's, but I don't watch him play a lot. And especially for knockdown too, not for like combo movie stuff, like for knockdown, like not that many people ran it. Her meter gain's not good, you know. As far as Garden and stuff, like moves like Garden, they've been taking out of Arxis games in general. So like I said, that one was kind of like it's about time. Like I was expecting them to like do some major nerf of Secret Garden at some point in Exert, like some super serious one, but they never did it. Yo, Chrono, thanks so much for follow too. So the main one's Pin, because that's the one, like, it would be so easy to find, like, commentators talking about it, or, like, listen to people who talk about Guilty Gear. That's the only move people fucking talk about with this character, is fucking Pin. So, it's gone. Like I said, it sucks, because, like, it's a cool move, it's an interesting move. It's cool what it does to the game and matchups, but I think the stuff they gave her is good, so. Does Margaret J22C count as a mini? No, there's no mini. Like that move, Margaret 22C is more like a Kai, like a charge stun edge type thing. It's just like kind of plus. Like Secret Garden's like more than plus 100. You know what I mean? Like it's super. If you make all the hits hit, you are obscenely plus. Like jokes plus. Like if you go back to Blaze Blue and look at old Daisharin, I think old Daisharin's like plus 300 or something. Like Garden is like that. Like they don't want moves like that anymore. They really don't want moves like that. Thank God Garden's got. Look at all the haters, bro. So first I'm gonna talk about the things I'm not sure about, because there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff I'm not sure about. So one is going to be 2D. So I touched on this on the beginning, but this video is there's actually definitely a time where she does 2D. Let's put on 2D instead of looking at how amazing she is and amazing she looks. Let's have that awkward looking 2D. Okay, so this is 2D. So 2D. This is an example of, we don't know if the properties changed because they didn't talk about the moves at all. You just gotta wait for training mode. Because normally, oh, my camera's blocking it? You gotta hold that. This is an example of we just don't know thing. We don't know. So Millia's old 2D is a move that if you don't play the game, you're like, okay, it's a sweep. But if you do play the game, you know that Millia's 2D, her hair lifts her off the ground. So what that means is you can use the 2D to beat other characters' 2Ds, meaning low crushes. And it's not just like low crush. Like low crush is cool and all, but the thing is there are a lot of mildly degenerate low profiling moves that you can use 2D, Millia's own 2D, to beat. So the easiest example is Soul 2D. Because when you start playing Guilty Gear and playing on Soul 2D is a huge fucking problem. Huge problem. So Soul 2D, that motherfucker lies down on the ground physically to sweep you for whatever reason, and Millia's beats it. Okay? But we do not know if this 2D does the same thing. So like a lot of her move properties, like these properties help her fight other characters, because they usually go, this is like a super oversimplification, but they either make the move clearly good and stupid looking, like Soul's 2D, or if you don't want to use Soul, then like you could use something like Alpha Far Slash, or like Johnny 2H, like it obviously looks good and stupid, or the move itself doesn't look visually stupid, but it has some type of special property or some type of little thing. And Millia's like entire moveset is like that. Like a lot of her moves have special properties in previous versions of Guilty Gear. So things like her jump kick, being the fastest air normal in the game and having more hit stun than other normals at that same attack level, or the 2D that I mentioned, low crushes, the 6K going over lows. Like she has a lot of her moves have these properties, and because she doesn't have a lot of range in general, this is how she fights characters with bigger range or who have like better buttons. She uses the special properties on her moves to and her mobility to kind of navigate around this and fight this. So anytime they show a move, like they're talking about her sweep and stuff, the first big uncertain point is, I don't know if it has a special property, and if it doesn't have the ability to beat lows, how much does it actually matter is the other question. Because if it doesn't do that, then it's obviously a nerf, but how much does it matter that it doesn't do that would be the other question. Or does she have some other move that would replace sweep for that use? Because I'm actually going to go back to talk about sweep later. This move is really important for something else that they clearly touch on. Okay, so I'm going to come back to it. And the next one would be, where did they put this? They did this in a weird order, huh? Oh, here you go. So the next one would be H-Disc. The next one will be H-Disc. So it's airborne. She's airborne now when she does it. Before, in all other versions of GG, she's not airborne. She just goes whoop, and it just comes down on you. In this game, though, she jumps off the air. She jumps into the air and does it, which she did not do before. So there are a bunch of questions about what this means. Because, for instance, you don't directly get her like standard 50-50. So for a long time in Guilty Gear, basically since like the year 2000 or 2001, she's had like one core mix-up that she's had for a long time, which is either TK Bad Moon, which is instant overhead, or Hair Car. And if you hit it meaty, they hit at the same time, and the opponent can't discern which one is coming, right? But she is airborne, so she can't do this the same way, or like it's gonna be I'm really not sure like how you're going to like structure this. Now, the thing they show in the video is that they just they air dash over, which that is good and fine and all, but that is actually like a kind of layered selection normally. So this example of like, you know, you build the characters are the reason why nuance is built into game, where Dragon Ball is the opposite, where the system is where all the nuance is. Where in Guilty Gear it's mostly about the character stuff. So the cross-up option is good, but they have to stand up into Bad Moon. Like the main reason why cross-ups work with disc normally is that they're scared of Bad Moon, so they stand up, and if they stand up, the disc hits them faster, right? But in this version, she is airborne, so her selection is definitely going to be different. I'm just not sure how you're going to go about it, like a bunch of stuff about it. Because also generally cross up is like pretty vulnerable to certain stuff. Like they have to like sit there and respect you and be scared. So she would need some type of other selection. But you do have air dash cancelable normals, which is really nice. So there's things with that I think is okay. I think with a little training mode exploration, this uncertainty is going to go away. The other question is what happens if Millia blocks? Because in AC, in XX actually, if you block when the disc is out, it doesn't go away. In Exerd, if you block when the disc is out, it does go away. So since she's airborne, the question is, so like let's say you're playing against Soul. Someone mentioned DP. So let's say you're playing against Soul. You do the disc. Normally you would like backdash or something to get away so that the like especially if they have like 50 meter, right? Because if they have 50 meter, you sit and block the DP, the disc goes away. Now they're plus. That fucking sucks. Imagine hitting someone and then being plus, aka Dragon Ball Fighters. In AC, that doesn't happen. Okay. In this game, we don't know because no one has ever challenged the disc. We don't know. So we actually just have no idea what happens when the disc is out and she blocks. Does it go away or does it stay? It's extremely important what happens when it goes away because one, there's no parry, there's no reflect for Dragon Ball players, and for previous GG players, there's no blitz, right? There's no blitz either. Yo, Blue Terraflame, thank you so much for following. So there's no parry at all. So my guess, especially with like how things have been going in ArcSys games in general, it should go away on block. That's my guess. That is my guess, but I don't know. So these are things that we have to like clear up, for sure. For sure. Yo, Razor Takedown, thank you so much for following. Now next would be another favorite. We go to Bad Moon. So damn, that's a really shitty screenshot, huh? Bad Moon. Okay. So Bad Moon, a lot of people talk about the down properties, and saying like it doesn't give a hard down or whatever, but basically, especially if it works like the closed beta, basically everything knocks down in this game. Like there's no like stun really, it's just kind of like juggles. So basically everything knocks down. So my questions mainly come from the down properties, like what happens. Like for example, it's not just combos. Like what happens when you do like Bad Moon starter? See, people are already saying Bad Moon doesn't knock down anymore, but that's the way the game works. Is you just fall, like you just fall. So like here, I think they just get up right away, like pretty fast like that. So but like that doesn't matter. Like here, it basically doesn't matter. Like you have advantage, and then of the only time I've seen TK Bad Moon hit, they go flying full screen and they kind of roll. But I just want to like confirm what happens. The other thing about it, 2 is confirming no minimum height, but I think it's basically confirmed that there's no minimum height. And then 3 is that because of the speed, is it Eno JD style overhead selection off H disc, which would be pretty dope and very nice. Super nice. So now we move to S disc. It's another one. S disc is a big one. Where's disc? Disc. Turbofall. Tandem top. Okay, that's new S disc. They did weird. Look at that pose though. Character's sick, bro. There's no minimize. Yeah, I basically like had that feeling, but like I want to feel it in my hands. You know what I mean? That's just a bunch of there's the main big questions are. So now, do you see how she does this, where she kind of like flings it? That's new too, right? So before she just made it go around. So like in XX series, you don't really use the move. It's kind of like combo filler, basically. Well, no, that's not true. So in XX, you only use it like 2 A's. That's a better way of putting it. You only use like 2 A's. It is combo filler for sure, and you use it to like attack people's defensive timings. It's a pretty strong way of doing it for her, because her general like offense, like her general Gatlings, are not as strong as other characters. So instead, you got to do stuff to like fuck with their timings, fuck with what they like doing as passive defense, etc. Right? In Exert, you get to use it in neutral as a shield with YRC also, on top of the previous 2 things. So using combos, you use it to, like, in pressure to try to catch people, delay mashing, fuzzy jumping, all that shit. And you can use it to, like, a giant bubble to protect yourself from big bullies like Elfo and shit, right? So now, though, she does this jumping thing and she fucking tosses it, okay? So there's a couple of issues with it. One, what does it do to the frame data is a big one. Big one for me. And then 2, can you still use it to beat people's fuzzy timings? Because that's like a really big thing for her. This is, of course, you know, like, I don't actually know how the new Gatlings will work for her. Like, I gotta go look at that shit. But like, that's like a huge part of her like advanced Millia play. Like, it's a pretty big thing to hit people, because then you get to take turns that you're not supposed to have because people FD it and she's plus. You get to, like, if they fuzzy jump it, they block in the air, she's like +9 or some bullshit like that. It hits like delay mash and some like annoying delay mash. It does a bunch of shit for her that is mildly difficult to do with normals. So I am very curious about this. It's something that I use a ton with her in my offense personally, and I think it's pretty important. So I really want to check this out for sure. The main nice thing about it is that, like, it looks like you just use it more in general, because, like, since she tosses it like that, I saw a couple of clips where they do like a few buttons and then they do that and it kind of like sends the opponent away. So you might use the move a little more, but like, I think these, especially for the offense, that thing is like pretty big thing I want to check. The other thing is like this weird landing recovery looking thing. They don't tell you if she has air options. I'm assuming she doesn't, by the way. I'm assuming she doesn't have air options straight up, but combined with some questions about other properties, like what I mentioned about like sweep, since it hits a pretty big range, I'm like, can you use it like a neutral tool now to like beat like some sweeps and stuff like that? I don't know. Those are like my main things I'm looking at. Yo, Dave23PR, thanks so much for a follow, dude. And also Masterman Dragon, thank you so much. Air options, as far as air options, I mean, with 25, I think for sure, I think something like that can happen. And of course, like RC would be a really strong tool too. I don't think they would just give her like that shit's kind of that they wouldn't do that, and especially the way they've been making games recently. I don't think they would do something like that. Personally, yeah. Okay, there's a couple more in this group before I'll take a little break. So there is the roll move, the quote-unquote roll replacement. It's called Mirage. Yo, Coral the Betrayer, thanks so much for following, dude. So I don't know if they have a good way. Where did they do this? I wanted to be on a screenshot of her doing it. Oh, she does it off a move. Okay. Oh my god, you hate to see it. It's kind of. Oh, this is Lust Shaker. Why am I on Lust Shaker? My whole life is ending, by the way. Okay, so Mirage is like the roll replacement. I've been joking and saying the reason why she doesn't have roll is because they want you to see her hips all the time. But I don't know. I don't know why it's not roll and why it's this fucking slide thing. There's a bunch of things about it, like does it have follow-ups, because they don't talk about it. They don't talk about follow-ups at all. Roll basically is basically loses to throw, right? Especially like we should talk about the XX roll, because XX roll is the best roll, and it got nerfed in Exert. So XX roll, she can cancel into throw, and it's basically like an unseeable throw that's kind of like a Dragon Ball style reversal because it's not low profile, it's really low profile. So moves like Zato 2S, Venom 2S, like it goes under that shit. Like I remember when I learned that the roll goes under Zato 2P and 2S, I was like, bro, what? But if you look at the moves, Zato isn't really hitting the floor at all. So she goes under that shit, right? And on top of that, no, that's the main thing for that move, right? There's follow-ups in XX, but like they're not that strong. Now in Exerd, they super nerfed the roll throw, but she got follow-up. She got Lust Shaker follow-up, she got Digitalis, which they buffed a couple of times, so that's really nice. And then down the line too, down the line it picked up pin automatically, which I think they have an ACR. I actually forgot whether or not that's an ACR, but that was such a nice buff for 2.1. That was like, I was like kisses. I was like, you guys are so smart, and that is so nice. Great change, 10 out of 10 change. Great, amazing change. Right? It picks up pin. Okay, got it. Say less. Okay, yeah. Roll, pick up, say less. Okay. So there's a bunch of mysteries. Like we don't know what it actually does besides going through you. Now the thing about going through you that might be okay, by the way, is that, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this game has a throw whiff. So it could be harder to throw when you go through her. Maybe, I don't know. That's again, we gotta check. I'm just literally throwing shit in the air, Don't know shit. We don't know if it's low profile. We don't know if it's really low profile. We don't know if it has follow-ups. Because that's all the shit with roll, and they don't mention any of these things with this move. They just like, here's a move, and you can go through them. That's it. That's it. So it's just like they didn't tell us shit about the move, so that's why I'm not sure about it. Okay, I think they go right into Lust Shaker, right? Look at that. He does it like after a move. That looks mega cap. Okay, here's Lust Shaker. Lust Shaker stays again because they gotta show off. They gotta show off how amazing they made her model, right? So, a couple things about Lust Shaker. Okay, so here they do give us the hint. They give you the command and they say press S repeatedly. Okay, so there's still two versions of the move, 214S and mash S. So one, how many times you have to mash S is generally 5. And then does it work the same as Exerd, basically, where it's like, is the mash version faster? So in Exerd, the mash version is faster than the quarter circle version. In AC, they're the same. So there's not really a reason that I know of to use the mash version over the command version. But in Exerd, the command version is slow, so you can use it to beat like certain defensive timings, like people delay mashing, fuzzy jumping, all that shit. I don't think that means there's a mash version. I mean, it just says press repeatedly. Okay, that's why I'm saying it's unsure. That this is the unsure category. I don't know. I'm making assumptions because they don't tell you enough. Right? That's just, we have to wait until next week to see. If you can do the normal mash version, how many times you have to hit it? Is it actually hard to do? Like, does it carry the same properties as before, where one's faster, one's slower? It's like, all that shit. They just didn't say enough to me. Then it's nice that it's there because it's a really nice tool for her in general. And in this game, if we get the straight up mash version, then I think because everything has more hit stop, it's easier to use the mash version than in Exerd, which is a thing I would be happy with. I'm not gonna lie, I would be quite happy with it. Yo, Car's fire. Thank you for 6 months, bro. Thanks. Thank you so much. And then the last one would be, the last unsure point is this move, the new move, Kapel. It has cap in the name. This move, new move. That's the last move in this group, right? It's basically like, what the fuck is this? Not what the fuck is this. I have ideas of how to use it, but we just need to know limits on it. Assuming that they are making the characters from... Assuming that they're working off like their more recent way of making characters, my guess is that you only get to use this once in the air. Right? Just one time. Yeah, a lot of people say that too. It looks like Akio Vermilion Puffball in Melty. That's why I have hope for this move. This move is really strong. The move concept is really strong. But we just need to know the limit. What are the limits on this move? What are the limits on this move is probably the most important thing for me on this. Because they don't say anything. They're just like, you could use this to alter your air momentum. But like, there's a bunch of shit that this move can do. This move might be able to do. I shouldn't say this move can do, because we don't know. This move might be able to do. The move that this is based off of, to me, is a ridiculous move. The Melty Bud Akio Vermilion Puffball is ridiculous. How did people use it? I don't know. As plus. I'm gonna remember a couple of these wrong. She keeps her air options, I'm pretty sure. She has one that moves backwards, one that moves forwards. You can't fucking anti-air it. Like, you just can't fucking anti-air that shit. Those are probably the three main ones. The three big things. They showed 6k to this move to convert into air combo. People are saying that move might not be an air combo. Sorry, 6k. Apparently. But I mean, I don't know. That, like, normal stuff is basically mostly uncertain. You air to air to Melty? Ooh, you must learn more about Melty. All the top tiers are good at anti-airing. All the top tiers, what they all have in common in Melty is that they could fucking do normal anti-airs and they don't have to fucking jump around. I would assume you can't control the direction though. One, because that shit would be really broken. They're trying to have... I think they don't want the game to be broken. Emphasis on I think. And two, they would show you if there was an S version. This is only an H version. So that's the other thing that I think, oh, you can only go forward. Alright, do you want to move on? Do you want to talk about the things I think are bad? Because it's only one thing, actually. It's one thing. Just one thing. One thing that I'm like, bad point. Only one thing. Yo, Vit, thank you so much for the follow, dude. Thanks. There's one thing. You guys ready? I guess you'll get the hint because I'm scrolling looking for the move. Did I get this on my first try? Yes. Dude, that's a really awkward pose, bro. It's just one thing. Yeah, it's just this. It's just hair car. It's hair car and it bounces forward now. So they like sank tuple down. They really went in on you should die if you, I guess, IB this move. I don't know. But I mean, I guess it's fair. I guess it's fair, but this is sad. This is sad. And if it was like a typical GG game, if it was like a typical one, then you could be like, oh, you would get like new combos from it. But in the vid, he said it could be hard to punish. Okay, so I'll go through the history. So I feel like in AC, you basically can't punish this move. You basically can't punish this move. In Exerd, they did a change pretty early on where she bounces back less. So on the one hand, you got like combos with it. But on the other hand, like, you know, if fucking Elfelt blocks it or if Johnny blocks it and you kind of do it, not raw, but like yeah, disc protecting you is fine, or Rose protecting you is fine, but you know, if you did it, you're just dead. Like, you're fucking dead. So this is just like, you know, everyone's gonna kill you. Everyone's gonna fucking kill you. It's just, you know, party time. Party time's gone. It's okay though. People weren't using this in neutral like that anyway, but like, you know, the only nice thing I could say about the hair car going forward is like hair car RC stuff. Hair car RC stuff would be pretty interesting because she goes forward and not back. But besides that, like, but that's it. That's the only bad point. That's the only bad point. So, good things. We saved the best for last. Good things. So the first good thing is not that. That's just her doing a combo. The first good thing is she has 2K2D finally has 2K2D that knocks down. It only took God knows how long. I know it would be stupid if she had 2K2D in other Guilty Gear games though, so it's okay. But it's kind of dope that finally she gets to be a normal GG character and can do 2K into 2D just like everyone else on planet Earth. That's nice. Okay. Then point number two. Point number two is that H-Disc still exists. Yes. Yes. It is. We do have it. It's better than not having it. We could not have it. Right? Because the way that we're talking, we could just not have it. Right? That's another W. And it's 2 hits, which is another W. Right? That's a W. We take the W's, right? We take the W's as we see them, right? Another W is Bad Moon, okay? Bad Moon still exists. Still exists. Still is an overhead. And maybe, so outside of things we already know, maybe it has some neutral application for once. For once. TK Bad Moon looks fast, lol. They like double down. When Furman was like, it's 12 frames, I was like, wow. They were like, man, people said it's not fast enough. Someone looked at it, they're like, it's not fast enough, bro. Yeah, I might have a little neutral application for once, would be kind of nice. So back to tandem. I kind of mentioned this before with disc, but I low key mentioned this before with disc. Didn't I skip that? The S version. That's the H version. But the S version of the move, between, damn, I'm really bad at this. Between, can I get a, there you go. Between it being airborne, so then like so it's airborne, so maybe a meter you could do some shenanigans with it, and also she may be better at establishing herself at ranges where she might have needed pin before, right? But the follow-up options is not as good as pin, obviously, because pin you have air options. Pin you have air options and it's like ridiculously plus. This is like, you know, you have this thing where they might have to worry about it because they don't have something that reaches far enough, or their main poke is like a low and she hops over it, maybe. There's a couple of things. Like, it looks like a legitimate new neutral tool that she's never had before. Those are the, and then the fact that that Kapel exists. Kapel existing and Love Shaker existing. Good points. Good points. So any questions about anything in general? I think that's everything I noted down. Oh, also her fucking run looks like it still goes under stuff, which is good. Maybe. I don't know how many characters would have like shit like that. Yeah, those are all the main things. Her air movement, ridiculous in this game right now, I think. She has Kapel, Turbofall, BM might be a legitimate thing. And she still has 2 jumps and an air dash. And her air dash is faster than other characters. So it looks kind of ridiculous. Biggest concern, there's a couple of things. With Millia, like, where do I start? Like, one is just like I'm really concerned about normals because they didn't like say anything about the normals really, and like again, like I mentioned that all the way at the beginning, like a lot of her stuff has special properties and like it helps her exist. So you know, I'm kind of worried about that. That's probably like the #1 thing.